Hi, today we're going to go over the Tai Chi Yang style movement called grasp the bird's tail, sometimes called grasp the sparrow's tail. And it is 4 fundamental Tai Chi movements that we do together in one continuous flow. So it's a lovely set of movements to do, and the nice thing about them is we only use one stance, so our feet are only moving the one time. So this is particular movement. When you do it well, it helps to build up strength in the body as well as softness. It's very good for you. And you can do it as a flowing walking movement if you like, or just do it on its own. It is in almost every Yang style form that there is. Certainly in all the ones that I've learned, there's always this particular set of movements in there. So let me show you just the footwork. It begins by, we generally start in a T stance. So remember, with a T stance, we've got one weighted foot. So all the 100% of your weight is in one foot. And this foot is generally pointing towards the corner of the room. If this is the front of the room here, then this is pointed to the corner of the room. And so it's about a 45-degree angle from pointing at the front. As I say, all the weight's in your one leg, and you're just touching down with the ball of the foot of the other leg, kind of for balance. And from here, all we do is go into a bow stance. Now, if you're not clear on this, you can look at my YouTube video, Fundamental Tai Chi Stances, and just have a look at that again, and I go over these particular stances. So from here, we're going to touch down with the heel of the unweighted foot. Now my hips are in line with this weighted foot, okay? And because there's no weight in the front foot, they don't turn. As soon as I begin to adjust the weight into the front foot, my hips are going to turn as well, okay? And I come into this position. Now notice that there's width between my feet as well as length, all right? We don't want this stance. And we don't really want this stance either. We want a little bit of width as well as length. So that's really it for the foot movement. Now, what's important is that where we shift the weight. So when we start out in our T stance, our weight is all on our back foot, and then we're going to shift to the front foot. Now, when we're on the back foot, we're 100% weighted in the back foot. When we come forward, we're 60 to 70% of our weight in that front foot. And our hips are almost parallel here with the front wall. There's a very tiny little bit of turn here because we're not 100% forward, okay? So let's go over the movements, all right? So that's kind of the footwork. That's all we're gonna do with the feet. So we begin with our holding the ball. Now remember, with holding the ball, we want our arms here to be soft. There's a bit of roundness here. And the distance between the hands is roughly the distance between your wrist and your elbow. All right, that's going to be different on everybody. A taller person is going to have a bigger ball than a smaller person. All right, so just feeling into this, holding the ball. And then we're going to touch down, empty. And we're going to move into the first movement here. Now, as I turn my hips and adjust the weight, my front hand is going to come up just to in front of my chest here. And my, this is like a rising movement here. And my other hand is just going to float down to be by my outside of my hips. All right, so it looks like this when we put it all together. Okay, and this is called ward off, and it's an expansive movement. So as you're doing it, try to feel yourself expanding in all directions, okay? Now, in Yang style Tai Chi, your body, upper body always stays upright. So when we do this, again, the upper body is upright here. And I want you to see that there's a bit of curvature here in my arm. It's like I'm holding a beach ball. And the other thing is that my arm does not really move out past the level of my knee. So it's not out here like this, and it's not, really big round. It's more in here. It's not collapsed either. So just this very nice roundness in here, okay? So let's look at that again. We're holding the ball. The bottom hand is going to float up, the top hand floats down, and I come into this position, ward off, expansiveness. Now the next one is called roll back, and in this posture, so I stay in the same posture, and then I'm just going to turn that front hand over. I might turn my hips very slightly, but not much. And then I'm going to bring my other hand up, and again, the width between my hands is roughly the distance between my elbow and my wrist. So you imagine grabbing somebody with the elbow and holding the wrist, and we're going to pull them back. So this is called roll back. So all I do now, I'm not turning the hands or moving the hands, I'm going to turn the body at the hips. So I'm adjusting my weight into the back foot. So turning my hips, and that's going to bring the hands down and across. Now, we generally don't want the hands to go to cross the midline of the body. So this hand coming here, when I'm in this position, it looks like I've crossed the center line of the body. But in fact, when I turn my body to the side, the center line changes as well. So I'm not moving it past the center line. Okay, so let's do these two movements together. Ward off, expanding. And then if somebody's coming at this, we're not going to resist them. Instead, we're going to go with the flow of their energy. So we're going to redirect them. And this is called roll back. Now, notice that I'm just noticing myself in the camera here. When I do this, I can lift the toes of my front foot or not. But what I want you to keep in mind is when we go forward, we always keep the back heel down, okay? So 2 movements now, ward off and roll back. Let's do them again, and then we'll move into the next movement. Ward off, roll back, so shifting that weight. Now my backhand is simply going to float up and come to the inside wrist of my front hand. And from here, I'm again moving from that back foot, redirecting all my weight forward, or at least redirecting all of my energy forward, okay? I'm still only 60 to 70% in my back foot. But this is called press. So you think about if you've got somebody in your home or even an object, you can try pressing. Now notice this doesn't just come from the arms. I'm not doing this. There's no strength in that. But when I bring that from my back foot, I've got a lot of strength, a lot of energy moving through the body. And you're very, very strong doing that. Now there's a couple of different ways to position your hands for this. When I first learned it, it was on the forearm. Okay, so you can put the palm of one hand on the inner forearm of the other hand. That's quite acceptable. You can also put it on the wrist. That's good. Now what I like is kind of to bring these, kind of lock the hands in here. And you might remember when you were a kid and you were doing the butterfly shadow thing. That's the same idea here. What you really don't want is to put the fingers on the fingers. There is no strength at all here. Okay? So find the position that you like best. Again, I like this locking in here. It feels the hands feel firm and together as we do this. All right, so this is what you want to do here. Now, that's the third movement called press. And then we've got one more movement, and this is called push. So let's do all 3 together, and then we'll go into the 4th movement. So ward off, roll back. Again, float that back hand up, come to the inside of the other hand, and press forward, turning those hips as you adjust the weight. And then from here, we're going to take the back hand and slide it off the front hand. We're going to bring it all the way back. Now we're moving that weight, again, we're not really just moving the arms, we're shifting the weight into that back leg so that we can bring the energy all the way through. We're going to come forward here now and push. All right, so let's do that whole thing one more time. Ward off, roll back, We're going to press forward, again, coming from the back foot. And then we want to do that same thing with the shifting the weight, coming from the back foot with our push. Coming forward and push. Okay, so that push again is coming from the back leg. When you bring that energy through, you're very, very strong. It's not just the arms. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is the wrists when you do this. You don't want your wrists to be at 90 degrees. That blocks up the flow of the energy. Okay, so you want them to be a little bit more looking like this. They're not down either, but they're just kind of a nice little curve in there, and that helps the energy to flow through as well. So you're not just using your physical strength, you're using your energy strength too. So let's do that whole thing again, and then we can do it on the other side. So from our T stance, moving into bow stance, ward off, feeling that expansion. Roll back, not resisting, instead redirecting. Float that right hand up. We're going to press forward and then sliding that hand off, and we're going to push forward. Great, well done. That's the whole movement. Let's try it on the other side. So again, now we've got our opposite foot pointing to the front corner of the room, all the weight's on it. So the weighted foot side, that hand is going to be on top, the other hand underneath. All right, and we're going to ward off. This is ward off right. Roll back. Loading up that back foot. Press forward, turning the hips, keeping the back heel down, and then loading up again and push. Okay, now we're working on the 24 form in my class right now. So the push in that form is quite low. If you're doing other forms, maybe the 37 or the 108, that push doesn't come quite so low. All right, so we're going to come back and it's a little bit more like this. But in the 24 form, it's a low push. Okay? Now, a couple things to keep in mind. The biggest one is to do this as a flow. The movements are not independent of each other. You want to have that continuous flow of movement. And if you're doing it and you kind of mess up with something, don't worry about it. Just keep going, okay? You want to get that energy moving through the body. And by keeping the flow going, that will happen. Now, if you want to practice this as a movement form, you can do this as a walking format. So you're going to start on one side, ward off, roll back, press, and in our case, a deep push. Okay, and then you're going to simply circle the hands around, churn that front foot out, and come up to your T stance, and then move into the other side. Okay, ward off, roll back, press, and again, deep push. We can go back to the original side now, turn the foot out, circle the hands around, come into your T stance, and then ward off, roll back, press, and push. Okay, everybody, well done. I hope you enjoyed this and you picked up a thing or two. We'll be practicing in this in class, of course. So if you enjoyed this and you're not familiar with me, my name is Blanche Boyce. I'm a Qigong master and I also teach Tai Chi. You can find more of my videos on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel or at least give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Bye for now.